The following podcast is an RMG Media production.
Welcome to the Renaissance Podcast, a podcast for Renaissance women
and men
who want to create a modern-day Renaissance in their life and business.
We interview some of the most successful entrepreneurs and share their unique stories.
Are you ready to create your Renaissance? You are the cutest human ever, and you just exude everything that is your brand. I have to tell you that. Like, when you think of someone that like is so perfect to represent a company like AGLOW, it's Kara Holden. I mean, you just are amazing, and you just are so like your energy. Like, I cannot even imagine working for you. I feel like it must just be like the best ever because you are just so kind. You really see people when you're on Zoom or just being with you today. I'm just like, you just feel so seen to be with Kara, and it's just like such a special thing. And I truthfully feel like there is no more aligned partner to have as our title sponsor for this conference than you.
My goodness, thank you so much. I am so grateful to be here today. And just as soon as I met you, there were so many nerves. Like I said, I've never done a podcast. I've never done a lot of these. These are a lot of firsts for me. And just immediately walking in and just seeing you and giving you that hug, I was like, such a relief. Just feels so good. It feels so aligned.
So much alignment is in our story together, which just, happened a few months back, which is so incredible. So just to give everyone some context, we are backstage, we'll call it, of the Renaissance Women's Conference, Charleston, which is our first one we've ever brought to another city. And your team had reached out to me. I think it was Danielle. And as soon as she did, I was like, okay, yes to whatever she's asking, just yes. And then we got on the phone. She was absolutely lovely. And then we got connected. And here we are with our title sponsor. So just before we kind of dive into your story, which is a really great story, I would love to know, like, why are you so excited about empowering women? Why does that mean so much to you?
I think it means so much to me because it is something that I have really needed in my life at different times. And it's a perfect question for you to start right out the gate because I wanted to push myself outside my comfort zone and do something as incredible as this conference. And in my line of work, it's a lot of one-on-one. And someone's coming in and they are being vulnerable with you. They have to undress to a certain level of comfort, and you really need to make them feel at ease. And when they come in, I want to really just see what they're there for. It might be for like a first date. It might be for a job interview. It might be for an exciting vacation. And I really just try to lean into that and give them the support they need for that. And I know that when they leave that I have made a friend, like for sure. And that's kind of my wheelhouse. However, I have not been as face forward in the business on a larger kind of scale until recently. And it was through the women that I have in my life and that I have aligned with that have lifted me up and empowered me to make me feel supported that I could be here today. And it would not be, I can get emotional. It would not be without that I could stand on the stage and be able to speak my story and my truth as authentically as possible without that. So I'm so grateful.
Man, it's so true. Like, it takes strong women to make strong women, right?
Absolutely.
Like, that is like, if I could give any entrepreneurial tip to anyone, it would be have that community, have that core group of women that maybe aren't in your same line of work, right? Like, I'm sure you don't know a lot of other Karas because you are doing something entirely unique that just takes a very special person, but still having people that understand and that truly like are your champions in the background, like your cheerleaders that aren't envious and jealous. And that's a whole other thing that women get no matter what they're in.
Absolutely.
Can you speak on that a little bit? Like just that,
that I have not had that level of friendship and that trust and that camaraderie, the empowerment, all of that came through the business. And of that is really with meeting Danielle and coming through the door. That was like in 2017 as a client. There's been numerous clients like over the years, but especially like how our relationship really began. And it was, she had been through a tough situation, and I was going through a similar one too. And it was all, really connecting on that personal level. And then from there, I could see how aligned that she was with the understanding the passion for the brand and the vision, and together then being able to just kind of grow that mission like even wider. And each time we had these wins, encouraging her to teach her how to tan, open a business, open a second business. But she was in the just right on the other side, encouraging me, like, you got this, like her belief in the brand to even want to open a location, like, wow. So for that type of loyalty and that friendship, that was through her and then other women that we've met through the business, that it's just, wow. There's nothing like it to be able to uplift and support. So together we rise.
Together we rise. Rising tides lift all boats. And I love that you spoke about Danielle, because it's like, yes, we know it takes a team, right? Like we know it takes a village, but I believe, especially when you're running a small business, it takes a really special person to say yes and to jump in, which often means jumping into the trenches, jumping into, hey, you're going to wear a lot of hats, and like having those people that understand that is like, man, you just want to you're never leaving me,
I know.
And it sounds like you've really found that with your team. Yes. So take us back to starting AGLOW, because you had kind of a scary skin cancer scare situation. And is that what kind of catapulted everything for you? Speak on that.
Yes. I knew that having that skin cancer scare, that I needed to make certain changes. And it was through finding a local business that was offering spray tanning, that I was like, oh, let me go and check this out. And I went, and it was a woman, her name was Kim, and she really mentored me. I started just going as a client, and then she was like, I really need some help if you'd be interested. And I was like, okay. So I started to work for her. I was going back to school at the time, and worked for her for 2 years. And she decided to sell her business. And when she did, there was another woman who had worked alongside her longer than I had. So it was only fair to offer her the opportunity to purchase the business. And so she did. Her name was Michelle. And then she kind of ended up going off and doing her own thing. But Kim and I always remained close. And she was like, gosh, she's like, I really think you should start your own. Just go to a different town and start your own. And she contacted me one day, and she's like, so I ripped out this tiny little article. It's like, I'm saving it for you. It was like this big in the newspaper. And she was like, I think you should go check it out. It's like a one-room thing. I already called the landlord. They said it's available. Doors unlocked. Just go up to the second floor and check it out. And I walked in. It was this. It was just like this,
Small.
like this size. Oh yes, it was 11 by 20. Yeah. And my father helped to build walls and partitions to make it look like it was 2 rooms in one.
Sweet dad.
Just to get a start, to get going. But I knew that I wanted to make a difference that was more than just skin deep. And if I could find the tools to do it, then we could be successful.
Do you think if it weren't for Kim, do you think that you would have eventually jumped into entrepreneurship, or were you already an entrepreneur at that time?
No, I was going back to school to get my psychology degree. And so I thought I was going to do like licensed mental health counseling. And Danielle and I joke because, and it's in one of the interviews, that we both have psychology degrees from UMass Lowell at different times. We didn't even realize it until we connected. And then I was like, wait, what? So we just joke that we're still using it in this line of work now, just in different ways. You think with your hairdresser, you're like,
say. You are mental health consultants through what you're doing, because when you're getting sprayed, you're your most vulnerable.
Right.
And you just sort of end up sharing
yep,
your life. The good, the bad, the ugly, right?
All of it.
And you're like, well, you're seeing me in my worst. So
I know.
might as well share it all too.
I
That's
know.
so interesting. I wanted to like pull that out, because I do think sometimes it takes another person who really loves you and sees you and knows your potential more than you actually maybe know yourself
100.
to be like, hey, I feel like you're going to think this is a crazy idea, but like you could take this and run with it, and like you would crush it. And then you did. And sometimes it takes that little, hey, You're amazing. And it's just a whole other reason why you should have those people in your life and find those people when you find them. Man, hold them tight because they've got your back and they will push you.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
But that's like my whole definition of like a Renaissance woman is someone who takes the risk and who is terrified when she's taking the risk. But man, look at you today. You're about to take the stage tomorrow. You're about to, I'm going to cry.
No, I am going to cry.
You're going to open this. I'm just so proud of you. I'm just I know you're like, stop it.
No, because
we're not good together because we're just going to cry.
Oh my
We're emotional. And it is emotional because it's, you know why? Because it's hard. And it's really hard to get to this point. And so I'm just so proud of you because I see you and you're so beautiful and your brand is just crushing it. You guys are opening so many locations. You're doing the damn thing. But I know from being in the entrepreneurship thing, it's just hard. It's just challenging and it's not for everybody. You know, this path is just not. I probably tell more people to not get into it than I'd say to get into it just because it's heartbreaking because it's your whole reputation. It's your whole personality, you know, like there's so much tied to it. So I am really proud of you. What's something this year, which you can say the conference, but I was going to say that you're the most proud of? It's been a big year for y'all.
It's true. It's really true. There's been so many highlights. I think it's really important that I actually want to touch on something that I never touch on, and that so much. And that's really just been kind of the healing journey that I've been on this year. I mean, it's because of the wonderful women, the stuff that I have been able to surround myself with. But in my line of business, it's been such a beautiful relationship with Danielle, as we all wear different hats, and her strengths are really with the social, the marketing, and all of that, on top of just being an incredible boss babe that inspires and pushes me and everyone and her team, everyone. So inspiring. But I have hidden kind of behind the brand for a very long time out of security, out of self-limiting beliefs, all the things that I talked about before in our interview series we did a few months ago. But I know that in order to grow this mission wider and to be able to have the exposure that we want to have, that I have to do difficult things. And I have had, there's been some definite hardships in the past, like handful of years, as we all go through, but I've made some pretty large changes, and in just really recognizing that the opinions of others that sometimes just don't have your best interest at heart. And I got caught up in a lot of that. And there's a lot of some healing that needed to be done there. So being able to rip off that Band-Aid and just be like, you know what, this is terrifying, but it's not about me. It's about being able to inspire and being able to seeing the dream life that Danielle has been able to create for herself through the business, and knowing that there's such a greater purpose that it's, you got to put fear. It's almost like I'm just saying, like, fear, like, let's go. I got to take you along because I'm terrified. I've never done a podcast. I've never spoken at a conference. I've never even done the interview series. But I feel like when you take aligned action, then the universe delivers. And for us to have this connection and have it work out and play out the way that it did, if I didn't take that first step and be like, okay, like Danielle was like, we're going to just do the interview series. It's just you and I. We're sitting in the studio chatting. It's not a big deal. We can do it. But I pushed that off for years. I thought, who am I to say, like, who's going to want to listen to me? Super imposter syndrome. But right?
Everyone wants to listen to Kara.
Oh God. Oh no, I thought you were
No. I'm just saying, when, to your limiting beliefs, I'm like, the masses look at you and are like, I want to listen to you more. Like and that's the unlock there, is like when you stand on that stage, it can be hard when you are such a humble person. And when you are, you care so much and you're like, I want the business to be the forefront, not me, AGLOW, but they can be simultaneous. And if you look at some of the most incredible brands, they're backed by a face and by a strong founder, by a strong CEO. And this is why when acquisitions happen, they're like, well, we need you to still like CEO, we still need you to, we're going to pay you to still be in that seat for a few years while we figure out how we can make this work without you. There's a reason because people buy from people. People buy from stories. People buy into you because it's all emotional. When we're buying anything, it's emotional. We just don't realize that it is because it's psychology and marketing, whatever. But I just think that that's very smart. And I'm just really proud of you because it is where you're meant to be. And I just think it's a lesson to all of our small business owner listeners that, you'll know in your gut when it's time to step up and step out, and you will know when it's time. And when you start to feel it, it's probably been time for a long time.
So true.
And listen, can you give someone advice that maybe is still, they're like, oh my God, she's hosting a conference and she's on a podcast. Like, I'll never get there, but I'm scared. And what would you say to someone in that seat?
I would say just trust, just believe, and just take one small step. And one of the other things I was saying in that interview series with Dee, it's like one small step every day and you'll be on your way. And even out of fear, it started with, okay, we're going to do the interview series. And from there, then I had seen Renaissance. I had seen this. I've been following for a while and it's on my goals list. I brought it. It's in my notebook. It's at home. I write those goals down every day. And on there, number 12 is by April 1st that I would speak on some form of a public platform, and knowing that it's the most terrifying thing. But I just was like, I have to do this. So it was through doing the interview series that then I was like, okay, Dee, can we reach out to Sydney and see, this is so terrifying. I can't imagine. But if I hadn't maybe done those interview series that then led me to the next thing, would you have thought, that would be a good brand to represent? I don't know. I don't even know who the founder is. Who is she? I hardly see her. And so it's like, please take this one small step, which will then lead you to the next thing. And then from our connection, I started a wonderful relationship with Brielle, who I'm so excited to meet tomorrow, and Heather.
Yes,
and my
Heather.
God,
I'm dynamos.
I
know.
I'm so grateful that just how every
universe
aligned
has-
action. My God.
My God is all I can say too. Like when you guys reached out, I was just like, I couldn't dream of a better partner. Like I really could not have. And it was just so organic the way that it all happened. And I'm so grateful because it takes a lot to put these on. But for me, it's all about heart. I don't need to do these conferences. I want to do these conferences because I think that the work that we're doing as women in leadership positions is very important work. And that's what I love the most, and I have in my introduction to you tomorrow, is just talking about how you all empower women in ways I've never seen a business like yours do. And you do that through the franchise model and empowering women entrepreneurs, which is how we're so aligned with that. But then just through everything that you speak, and again, just your heart. And I think that the most successful businesses lead with heart. And it's like, it's all over her, she's like, She's like, yep,
that's my manager.
You don't get
right?
Kara without a big heart. And you can see with your team too. I mean, they just adore you, and it's how you know. And I'm just so let's talk about AGLOW currently. Like where are we? How many locations do we have? How did we get here? And where are we going in 2024? So there's a lot in that question. So you can start anywhere.
Okay, let's go.
Like buckle up.
Yes. So we actually, before the franchise model, we're doing licensing deals. And so at one point we had a few more studios than we actually had now. But when I saw the business was needed to scale to just be able to expand that brand awareness and grow the mission wider, I knew that I had to transition to a franchise model. And so we're able to give that option to the licensees if they wanted to then maybe become part of like their own brand and do their own thing or join on. And the choice for Danielle was clear. She's like, absolutely. And the other licensees were at different places in their journey. And so there was no hard feelings. It was fine. But Danielle saw that vision and was like, yes, I know the brand together. She had seen how in her own studio, we'd had clients that had come to Bedford, our OG studio, and then moved to the North Shore. And so they went to her North Andover location. And then when she opened in Wyndham, they're like, oh, I recently moved to Salem. Now I go to Salem. But it's through growing that brand consistency and that awareness that it's like that you deliver that you get that trust and that loyalty. And they're like, well, I just knew I was going to AGLOW at like whatever the location. I'll check the schedule and I'll go, because you know what you're going to get, and you trust in that. So, starting that franchise model, then it was like, okay, so this is how we're going to do it. And then I thought to myself, the next step, how do we grow that? How do we get that exposure that we're looking for? And I went to an expo, a franchise expo, but there's all different, there's the McDonald's and the Subway and all these different, and I was like, I don't even know if 2% of the people walking through this door are going to be interested in our brand and what we provide. So that was how I discovered Renaissance. I was like, there has to be things like women's conferences, women empowerment. Like, these are the ones that I want to be aligned with, that I want to learn from, that are going to build me up, and I want to be able to do the same for them. So how do I find them? And it was through like Ali Webb, and that it all like came together, that I ended up finding out about Renaissance. And then I was like, oh my gosh, okay, that was Nashville, that's February. Okay, maybe we can reach out. I was like, wait, Charleston. And it was, oh my goodness. And with Magnolia, I had done a recent session where it was this cool, I don't know if you've ever heard of RRT therapy. It's like rapid resolution therapy. Okay. So
I have heard of that.
It is really cool. And it was really helpful with the self-limiting beliefs. And there was little examples of what to use to kind of, it was really helpful. One of the therapists was saying, I want you to think of like an image, like something that sticks out to you, and think of you kind of spreading that around. Like, I'm thinking like a bird or something. What kind of stands out to you? And I was like a hummingbird. And she was like, okay, a hummingbird. So think about when you're looking to spread brand awareness, that it's coming from this place of just kind of your nectar, you're sipping all around, and like being able to give that knowledge to other people so that you can empower them just like they have you. And when I looked into Magnolia, one of the first photos that I clicked on was the hummingbird. And it's on the Ashley River, which is my sister's name. And I said, send the email, Danielle.
That's the greatest story I've ever heard, because I know exactly what photo you're talking about. And that's the Ashley River. It's just right over there. That is so crazy. I love that. And I love that you're such a like sign person, because I believe in that. And I think that there's little nudges that are just placed along our path for us to just take after. And I mean, it's just led to so many incredible things for you and for us. And it's just been like amazing. Talk to me about the product, because that's one of my favorite things, like doing research into your brand and what you guys talk about on social media. Like, there's 0 toxins in this product. Like, this is a clean product. And I'm just like a woo-woo holistic girl. I'm very like, what's going, because you just, you don't know. And I love that the product is so clean.
Yes. There has definitely been, over the years, I had done the spray booths. That was one of the ways that I got into it in the beginning. And I was like, oh my gosh, but I reek like to high heavens. And the bottom of my feet are stained because the solution fell to the bottom, but they didn't wipe it down. They didn't tell me. The one time, the final straw before actually going into airbrushing and finding Kim's place was, I had a spray, and it was July, and the manager was like, go with the dark. You can pull it off. And I got the front and not the back. And it was totally the Ross episode. I didn't even know about the Ross episode till I told my mom, and she then sent me the link. I said, I got the front, I turned for the back, and it went, the nozzle was stuck, and I went out, and the manager said, well, we can give you half off, but technically you do have half a tan. And I was like, what? And I didn't get the insight of like, just go home and rinse it off.
Right.
So I walked around for a week, like in July, this is orange and dirty, and the back is totally pale. And my mom was like, haven't you heard of the episode? The 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Yes. Oh my God.
I was like,
hilarious.
no, but that's what happened.
Oh my God.
So I was like, no, okay, we need to figure this out.
Something's got to be better out there.
Something's got to be better.
Yeah.
And that's how, through working with Kim, that she had a product that she used that she liked. And I became really good friends with the owner of that company, and her name is Mandy. And I said, I'm looking to start a business, but I really would like to have our own like private line. Is that something you would be willing to do? And there was certainly like a commitment there where I had to commit to ordering a certain amount because she is making your own batch, and she is creating that for you, that proprietary for you. So I was like, okay, yes, I can do it. We'll make this happen. And she is we see BCB all the time. She's my bi-coastal bestie because she is in Washington State.
That's cute.
And I love it. I've been out there. I've been to her home. She has the lab there. We have been in the lab, and she has only allowed like a handful of people in her special like lab before. It's women owned. She started on her own. Her son was 2 years old. She was going through a tough divorce. Her son is now like 21, Mason.
Oh, wow.
But she started from the ground up to it. And so to kind of go through this together the last 12 years and tweak things along the way. But it was only recently in this calendar year that I had been out there, I'd seen the lab and messed around and played around and done all that stuff. But this was the first time that we went from start to finish, and she took our solution, our formulations, and set it on the table and said, here we go. We're going to make this batch start to finish and see the whole systems and the processes. And I was crying like on the way home, leaving there. I was so grateful because I know how much I believe in something, but to see it from start to finish. It was just like, that was a labor of love. I mean, it was a couple hour process, and I was like, oh, I am so grateful for you.
Oh my gosh.
Like, oh my gosh, there's so much that goes into it, and to keep it as clean as possible, and no chemical, no dye, and all that stuff.
All of that, which is in so much of that product in most places. I'm just thinking of like in Nashville, we have a lot of like corporate, owned, whatever, like very like massive company. I'm not going to say any names, but like you just know that it's not probably the best thing for your skin. But you were so passionate about that because what you've been through too. You were like, I want my women and my customers to have the best of the best, because your whole brand is about quality, which I love. And you look amazing. I'm assuming you have a glow on. I'm assuming.
You know it.
Yeah, girl. She's like, yeah. It just looks so natural. Like you glow. I mean, you really do. It's like makes sense that you named the business that. Well, so speaking of starting from the ground up, because it's so impressive that you have done that, what would your advice be to someone who is just in the building stages right now and is kind of feeling discouraged, but like just some tips for people starting and building and scaling a small business?
So some tips would be, I feel like the largest thing for me was really about building and cultivating that team from the beginning. And if I could go back, I would do that sooner. Mm-hmm. So many times I thought, like, whether it was through the need of like control because you're nervous of trying to build something and lose it. And if you just put it in the hands of someone else, there was probably some of that in the beginning. But as the business grew, it was really about finding those right people. You can't wear all the hats. The things that I was not good at, like when I found Danielle, you find in other people, and being able to then bring them on and help them to empower them in their role. Rachel she was a client as well, came in and had been a client for a while and had gone to several locations as well. So she knew and believed in the brand, and being able to start coming on and actually working and building her community of like followers and all her local gang is just, it's really about finding those right people. And that has been a tough lesson. Like over the years, there have been some that weren't totally aligned and all that. But those things, they just like fall by the wayside. So really finding those right group of people and those aces in the places, getting the aces in your places.
I love that. I'm going to use that. Well, it's so true. It's like you can't scale a business without those A players, and then just people that can do the job, right? Like that is like the biggest piece to it. And that's also the hardest piece to it. Like managing a team, people don't understand. It's like, we didn't really go to school or really learn how to like lead a team. It's very hard. And like, you just kind of at some points just got to ask people for empathy and sympathy and all of it, and compassion, because it's like, I'm learning also as we go here, you know?
Absolutely. I know everyone, the different personalities, and what do you need from me? Like, what do you need? And the ways that I might think that someone needs might not be that. Yeah. So really trying to learn and navigate that is a job in and of itself.
It totally is. Well, and so you talked about how you had kind of like your goals list for 2023, which I love that this fell into that. And like, I'm just, again, so proud of you for just checking everything off. Look at you. What's on the goal list for 2024, if you can share anything?
Something that would be on the list is just really excited to see the growth and see these connections that are being made. I feel like it's really so much about the connection, significance, and meaning, and that all comes from just the women that I come in contact with and learning. And I mean, Brielle, her team, yourself, like all this has just been in the last couple of months. Imagine what's going to happen in the next 365. I'm excited.
Now that you're in the Renaissance fold, it's all going to unfold for you.
I know I'm already eyeing like Nashville and stuff. But then I saw
Yeah.
Allie and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go. I've never been to Nashville.
And
I know. We tan so many people, don't we? For like 50,000 bachelorettes, as you know. It's all the time. Going to Nashville.
So you know how amazing it is.
I do.
Oh my gosh. Okay. How can we get an AGLOW concept in Nashville?
I know. Brielle is already talking about that. There was
off.
Yes. She has someone, she's like, I really want to connect you with. I can't remember. It's like apparently it's like a franchise in the Nashville area that's more like about like facials.
Facials. I know who you're talking about. Face Foundry. Yep.
Yeah,
I know her. And
you
would love her too. Oh my God. I'm like, for some reason blanking on her name, but she's amazing. And
yay.
we'll talk. And there's so many people I can't wait to connect you to, like just that are in our little world here, but it's expanding and it's like awesome. And there's just when you are aligned and when you are doing your heart work and when you are like doing what you were put on this planet to do, you meet people that are in the same boat. And, it's this gravitational pull for Renaissance women. And I am just, I couldn't be more grateful. Where can everyone find AGLOW? How can everyone follow you personally? Because I love following you on Instagram. You're such a it's so fun. Like, do you live on property? Because you like are always hiking and like, it's so beautiful. And I'm always like, where is she?
I know. That has been just part of just wanting to like get out in nature. I've been doing a lot of like travel, and then this has come up and put this more of like the forefront and the focus. It's just been like, let me just get out in nature because it just does things, right? Just be able to just clear your mind. It's so healing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And it's where you do some of the best work.
It's so, I love that. And I love that you do that. And I think that's a lesson too for our listeners. Like get outside, like just because it's a lot to be in this line of work and just to be a leader. And you have to take care of you, which is like, again, a big part of your brand is take care of you. So, okay. So everyone, where can everyone follow AGLOW on social and you on social?
Yeah. So on Insta, we have AGLOW_official. And then we have my account, which is kara.j.holden. There's all the different studios as well, just based on the different towns and all that. But that's where, and also we're on Facebook.
And what's the website?
AGLOWairbrushtanning.com.
AGLOWairbrushtanning.com. Okay. So this episode will be coming out after we've wrapped the conference, but if you guys weren't able to make it to this conference, we will be in Nashville on February 24th. We're going to get Kara there, which you got to be. Your debut Nashville has to be at the summit. Like, has to be. Oh
my gosh.
Well, thank you for being so amazing and just being such an inspiring person for women. You do amazing things for women, and our community is really lucky to have you. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
And that's a wrap. See you guys next week.